So come to the third video of the MMA history. Third video on UFC 3, 1994, September the 9th, in Charlotte, North Carolina, at the Grady Cole Center. And it's the first one that Royce didn't win. He pulled out because he was too tired after fighting chemo. So it's got a quarter-final, semi-final, and a final. It would change, as you'll see, for good reasons, as the alternate won it. It was pretty much fresh when you got into the final. So we're going to start with the quarter-final. Keith Hackney defeats Emmanuel Yarborough, the biggest athlete ever. I think he's still the biggest athlete ever. Or he was, he's died now, but the best athlete ever. Emmanuel Yarborough, the sumo wrestler. And yeah, Keith Hackney caught him with a overhand like palm strike, and put him down, and he couldn't get up, and he was all over him like a rash. Broke his hand, I think. I remember. He had to put out this comp later on with injuries, and it was a TKO, punches, everything bar the kitchen sink on the floor. Sure, he pushed him out the cage door at once, and yet he come back in, Keith Hackney, but it was very quick, short fight. Then you got Keith Hackney, American Kempo he was associated with. So it's quite separate. They weren't really cross-training as much here, which does change. Then we got Ken Shamrock, shoot fighter, beating Chris Leuniger, judo guy, and submission punches. And then you got Harold Howard. He was associated with a few different martial arts and belts, but Goju-Ryu karate, it's very near Kung Fu, that is Goju-Ryu. And also Aikido, I think he was associated with a few different ones. I'm not too sure how true a lot of this was though. I think they've just pinned their names to different arts. But anyway, I digress. Howard defeats Roland Payne, a Muay Thai guy. And Harold Howard from Canada wins by KO punches. As I say, it's still the same, no rounds, no time limit, only corner stoppage, etc. And no judges. Then we've got the last of the quarterfinals. Royce Gracie defeats Kimo Leopold. He was Hawaiian, I think, from what I remember. Yes, submission arm lock, finally, really. That tied him. In the semis, he was meant to fight Harold Howard. And he come in the cage, and then just before the fight even started, he was leaning on the cage really tired and said he didn't want to fight. He was so tired from the chemo one. It took everything out of him. It was a hard old fight there. Submission arm lock. It says chemo was taekwondo, but I can't see that. He's definitely done some wrestling. But anyway, so the semi-finals change totally because you've got Keith Hackney injured, he pulls out, and Royce Gracie pulls out with fatigue. So you've got Ken Shamrock in there, and he fights a guy who stood in as an alternate, Felix Mitchell, and Ken Shamrock defeats him with a rear naked choke. So he's in the final with no one, but he pulls out of injury also, Ken Shamrock. So you've still got Harold Howard, he goes through on a bye really. It's not on the Royce Gracie record, but it's like a bye he got because they got in. Him and Royce Gracie got in to face each other and then he had to walk out through fatigue. They didn't get the fight started. So officially it's like a bye he gets. And they had to pull out an alternate, Steve Jenham, good wrestler, etc., associated with ninjutsu, and he defeats Harold Howard, comes in fresh and wins. So they had to change the rules after this, with more alternates, etc., to give them the chance to step in. So that's the third video of the UFC 3. My favourite coming next, one of my best, the UFC 4. But that was 3 in 1994, Charlotte, North Carolina, in the Grady Cole Centre, September 9th, 1994. Bang.